are people who do this and it doesn't take off for them. I think we should acknowledge that. Like there are writers who are fantastic writers, who work hard, whose books I love, who just have not achieved the success. And it's kind of like, I guess it depends on your definition of success. I think writing a fantastic book and having that done and having people read it, even if it's, you know, thousands instead of millions, is a super big success. That's awesome. Agree. But there is this sort of sense that you want to make a living at it so you can keep doing it professionally. And at that point, like the break between that comes down to kind of the luck.
Yeah,
I mean, you can put yourself in situations where the luck can strike multiple times, and that's what you want to do, but you could have the dice roll go against you each time.
Absolutely.
And for me, the dice roll went well in finding Moshe, whom I clicked with really well, and him buying the book. And then, you know, the dice roll happened again when the whole packaging on the launchers, the first book, worked. Like I got a cover artist who had not done a lot of covers, and it was unique and standout.
That was an awesome cover.
Yeah, it was a great cover, and it had this right feel to it. They let me put what I wanted to put on the back, rather than like having a marketing person write it.
How did you get them to let you do that?
I was a new author, and they're just like, oh yeah, whatever he wants. And it's Tor. Tor is a great company in that they let you get away with stuff like this. Like Tor is very non-corporate. They're very free-form, and that means that if you have a great idea, Tor's like, yes, let's do it. Where another company's like, yes, let's ask marketing. And we put what I wrote on the back. We did this for Way of Kings too. I wrote something to go on the back of the book rather than generic marketing, you know, one man. And this was on the hardcover. On the paperback, we ended up with the generic marketing, one man thing. But, you know, on the hardcover, we had this nice thing that that was actually the prologue. I said, let's put the prologue on the back because it was one page. And then we got, you know, Orson Scott Card gives the cover quote, which was just mind-blowing. I didn't know him. It was just, you know, someone at Tor said, hey, you'll like this book. It went along. He asked some friends of his from BYU. They're like, hey, who is this kid? And they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of him. He runs the magazine, the science fiction magazine. I've read some of his stuff. It's good. So Orson Scott Card's like, yeah, I'll read the book. He read the book, gave us a nice blurb for the cover.
It's more important to finish things than to have it be perfect. I was so hung up on getting that, drawing that panel.
Right, because you're not going to be practicing if you're not finishing. You're not going to practice how to tell a story to its completion.
Exactly.
And, you know, I have a friend, this is really interesting. He works in IT, not in video games, but in IT. And he was a manager for a while at his company. He was in charge of hiring. And he would say to me, I actually asked him once, I'm like, what makes you hire somebody? Because they all come in, they all have like similar resumes, and you do the interview. What makes you hire someone? He says, there's one question above all others that I love to ask, and that is, what are you working on right now in your free time? And he says he could tell the person that lights up and says, I programmed my own search engine. And it searches only for boats. I mean, or something like this. Like, and they tell him all about this goofy thing that, you know, this is the things that they'll make. They're not making money, but they have a passion for doing the stuff that he's working in. And then there are other people who be like, well, you know, I program all day. I don't want to do it on my own time. He's like, this will not kill somebody. This is not I'm not going to hire you if you're very competent because of that. But the light he sees in the eyes of those people makes him more excited to work with that person. And so it is this thing, like, going into something that you love and then being passionate about it and working on it is probably the best piece of advice that you can get.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a writer, write books, finish books.
Yeah.
When I
no, even if it's not good, finish your book. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, I've started this." I'm like, "No, go make a video game.
Yeah.
Make the whole thing. Make it simple. Whatever you have to do, but finish it so it's a complete thing that someone can play.
Right.
Even if it's terrible, that's better than starting the best game ever.
Right.
And not finish it because you learn so much, and it's just I think it's absolutely the key to success. Is finishing what you start.
Yeah, definitely. With books, I mean, like I said, if you haven't finished endings, like endings are hard.
Yeah, sure.
And if you don't write endings, the only way you learn is by doing. It's like if you're starting stuff, it's like you're practicing baseball. You never practice running, you only practice hitting. And so when you get that hit, you don't know what to do. You're like, where do I go now? It's like, well, you don't actually get a score until you get around all this this diamond and get back here and like, oh, I've got to actually do all, you know. I mean, you can't just learn your beginnings.
Right, that's true. Okay, so that's actually a good, that brings up a question I've wanted to ask you forever, which is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why you are the greatest writer ever is because your endings are so awesome. You have such satisfying endings. And most there's so many books I've read my whole life where it's like the build-up is awesome, you know, the character development's great, and the endings just are not, they're just never not that epic, awesome ending you want. And I feel like with your books, you're batting 1,000. Like all the endings of your books are fantastic.
I like endings. I really like endings. There are two archetypes of writers, and these are going to be like stereotypes. Nobody fits one of these paradigms exactly.
Sure.
But the two archetypes are what we call the discovery writer. I don't know where my story's going. I explore it as I go. Stephen King is one of these.
Right. Here's my premise.
Here's my premise, and let's see where it goes.
Right.
And then we have what we call outline writers, which are, wow, I've got this idea. Let me build an outline, know where I'm going, and then start writing my book pointing toward that outline.